This week's installment of Tips for AI Insiders. I'm Kathleen Purley, your host and the founder of Demystify. In this week's episode, we're going to be leveraging Claude to build a social media dashboard. So let's go ahead and dig in. I'm going to share my screen real quick so you guys can take a look. All right, so we have Claude opened up. You have to have a professional plan to kind of do these like web app based tools. You'll go into your profile, which you'll find on the lower left-hand side. And when you click on that, you'll go to your settings and ensure that you have artifacts enabled. This is not by default, so you might want to ensure that that's functioning before you get started. The other part of this is really around detailed instructions. I actually used a Word doc to kind of contain all the instructions just to keep it simple, and really provided everything from the design principles, color palettes, layout, to some of the functionality, like a sticky header. And one thing to note is as you do these types of things, if you're not familiar with UX, UI language, it's okay. You can actually use AI to help you describe some of the features that you like. So take a screenshot of a platform, upload it to ChatGPT or Claude, and say, hey, I really enjoy the layout of the navigation or the items at the top. Help me describe this to a UX UI designer. It'll provide you that language that can kind of help from that standpoint. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this in. You can upload it as a document or you can copy and paste it in, either or works. We'll go back to our Claude tool. You do have to be on 3.5 Sonnet, which is the most advanced platform. We should be seeing 3.5 Opus and Haiku as well fairly shortly. But Sonnet is probably your best bet for this today. We'll also start to see that this will start to generate that bifurcated view where you have the React code on the right-hand side and the kind of chat on the left-hand side. This is something that would take normally hours or days for a developer to kind of pull together, depending on the complexity of it all. But this is being able to be done quickly in a matter of minutes. And so when we think about coding and the ability to code, this creates a huge opportunity for individuals like myself who have some base knowledge in code, but is not what I typically spend most of my time, nor do any of my previous developer friends that would ever want me to code anything on their behalf. So you'll see here we have the social media analytics dashboard. You have the ability to toggle to night mode or day mode, something I added there, a search functionality. You can look at audience growth, content performance, as well as audience engagement. You have the ability to toggle between last 30, last 3 months. So if we want to make a change, you can do this simply in English in the chat box on the left-hand side. So we might say, can you also add a filter for last 6 months? So we'll add that, and this will actually recode. So you'll see this go through the same process it did before, and actually update the code based on the changes that I'm looking for. There was a quote, I believe it was Sam Altman, when people were asking him, what coding language should I study? And he said English, right? So we have this ability now where we don't have to know how to code. We can actually just explain the output or the functionality that we're looking at. In my days of kind of technical project management or infrastructure design, from that standpoint, we used to call them like user stories, things of that nature. It's actually explaining some of created a handler to look at that data. So now you can see that we have last 6 months as a filter view, which is kind of cool. You'll see the data come in through here. And from here, you have a couple options. You can publish. So this kind of gives you an idea of the different views. I can look at audience growth. And content performance. Obviously, this does not have any data yet. This is just a designed of a dashboard. It's using synthetic data as a starting point. I do not have professional pages yet. So this just gives you an idea. You have the ability from here to publish this through their pages account, which has some usage privacy policies intact with that. Or you can actually copy and paste this code and kind of deploy it through a Replit server if you'd like as well. So I hope this is really interesting and opens your mind up in terms of Do you utilize this to help with your social media monitoring and responding, or leverage this type of AI dashboard in Claude to help manage your finances or things of that nature? So I hope you found this helpful, and please stay tuned and join us next week because we have a special guest who's going to show us how he has built an AI avatar to really navigate the complexities of the healthcare insurance world. So Pat Barry will be leading our Tips for AI Insiders next week, and I am so excited to have him on board and meeting you guys and sharing his knowledge.